Sometimes nature can be weird, and animals end up with some extra features, or even lack some. Just like this super stressed out bear and this blind horse. But first, let's take a look at this rather unusual calf. Number 10. Two-headed calf. When one of his cows gave birth to a very unusual bundle of joy, a two-headed calf, a Florida dairy farmer received the surprise of his life. Dwight Cruz said he discovered the newborn, subsequently called Annabelle, in a field. Cruz claims no one has ever seen anything like this in his family's 60 years of cattle raising. Cruz expressed surprise that he had had a two-headed calf. He'd heard of them but never seen one, and this was his first. Cruz believes the female calf has two sets of eyes, but he does not believe the two middle eyes are seeing anything. Annabelle is currently being bottle-fed due to her inability to lift her head, but Cruz says her mother is never far away. The family has already been contacted by Ripley's Believe It or Not. Their records show that the longest a two-headed calf has lived is roughly 40 days. It's unfortunate that Annabelle's chances of survival are slim, but we can always hope for a miracle. Number 9. Froggy the three-headed frog. After escaping from confinement, a rare and very ugly beast is lurking in the waters of Western Supermare, and children at a nearby day nursery want it back. Froggy, a three-headed, six-legged mutant frog whose deformities may be due to a genetic mutation or pollution, was discovered in the grounds of the Green Umbrella Nursery in the beach town. Staff were able to capture it and place it in a tank, but by the time word of its fame spread, Froggy had hopped it. The children chose the name Froggy for the magnificent amphibian. Froggy quickly became a neighborhood legend, drawing both parents and children to the Green Umbrella. The following morning, however, they were unhappy to see that the nursery celebrity had vanished. Tim Halliday, professor of biology at the Open University and international director of a task force examining amphibian population decline, said he'd never heard of such a frog before. For the past 200 years, people have reported mutant frogs, but finding one with 3 heads and 6 legs is extremely rare. Number 8. Midas the cat. Midas was born with 2 sets of ears and a defective jaw as a result of a genetic abnormality, but that hasn't stopped the Turkish cat from becoming an internet star with over 73,000 followers on social media. Canis Dosameki and her family adopted the kitten feline after she was born in a backyard in Ankara alongside 5 siblings. They claim to have fallen in love with Midas at first sight and wished to take her in, fearing that her prospects of finding a home would be limited due to her unusual condition. Midas, named after the fabled king of Phrygia who was saddled with donkey ears but could transform anything he touched into gold, rose to internet celebrity through social media posts about her day-to-day existence with Susie and Zaino. Midas's appearance is uncommon, but her veterinarian, Raysat Nuri Aslan, says her abnormality has no effect on her health or hearing. Midas is distinguished by the fact that all 4 of her ear flaps are attached to the ear canal. Dosameki claims that while the extra ears do not provide Midas with superhero hearing, they do not appear to harm her, and the kitten is living a perfectly happy and healthy life in her new home. Number 7. Extra legs. People in India worship a 5-legged cow because they believe its extra limb will bring them good luck. The animal's owner, Laxman Bhosle, said it holds the essence of Hindu faith, that touching its 5th limb will help fulfill all your wishes. He took the 4-year-old cow on tour after it drew a lot of attention from Hindus who came to his house. Hundreds of people have come to see the cow in Delhi, where Mr. Bhosle is currently displaying it. He stated that cows are their sacred animal. He refers to her as their mother. He claims that God is indicating to them through this extra limb that they must respect the animal and seek her blessings. The cow, whose 5th leg protrudes from its neck, is thought to be a manifestation of a Hindu deity by devotees. Mr. Bhosle, who is originally from Solapur, Maharashtra, has visited 6 states and 15 major cities since beginning his tour. Visitors to the cow will pay their respects and, in some circumstances, offer a contribution. Number 6. Two-headed sharks. It's difficult to say how prevalent two-headed sharks are. To begin with, the seas cover 71% of the Earth's surface, implying that there are numerous deep-water terrains to monitor. As the human population rises, the odds of encountering such animals increase. But one thing is certain, in recent years, more mutant fish have been identified. Since 2008, scientists have been trying to figure out why two-headed sharks have appeared. Christopher Johnson was fishing in the Indian Ocean, around 200 to 900 miles off the coast of West Australia, when he was dragged on board by a pregnant blue shark. When he cut the beast up, he discovered a two-headed fetus inside. The next encounter occurred a year after the Deepwater Horizon oil catastrophe in 2013. When a group of Florida fishermen caught a large female bull shark in the Gulf of Mexico, they discovered a two-headed fetus within her uterus. While other shark species have been known to produce two-headed pups, this was the first time a bull shark was observed doing so. So far, blue sharks have produced the most newborn two-headed sharks and embryos. Number 5. Cyclops pig. A terrifying image depicts a cyclops pig that was born without a snout and with one huge eye in the center of its forehead due to a rare genetic abnormality. This unusual piglet was born on a rural farm in the Brunopolis district of the southern Brazilian state of Santa Catarina. The pig looks like a cyclops with one enormous eye in the center of its forehead and a short trunk-like protrusion in place of a snout, according to the photos. Another trunk-like growth dangles from its bulging eye, giving it an extraterrestrial aspect. Because it lacked a snout, the piglet died from respiratory issues shortly after birth. Similar incidents have been reported in China, Argentina, the Philippines, and other parts of Brazil. In most of these incidents, the piglets also perish shortly after birth. The pig may have had cyclopia, a congenital disease in which the embryonic prosencephalon fails to separate the orbits of the eye into two cavities. Number 4. Quasimodo. Quasimodo was a stray from the south who suffered from short spine syndrome. When he wound up at a shelter, it was all that was known about his past. Because the genetic disease is so uncommon, Quasimodo was one of only 13 canines in the world known to have it. Quasimodo was roughly 5 years old when he was rescued by the second-hand hounds of Minnesota. The rescue group fell in love with him right away, describing him as a kind, wonderful, sweet boy. Quasimodo's ailment produced a twist in his spine, which means he could have health issues with his internal organs later in life. His spinal problem was almost certainly caused by backyard breeding. Despite their particular demands, 2 other dogs with the same spinal condition, Pig and Cuda, were still able to find forever homes, so there was hope for Quasimodo. He was placed with a foster family. Second-hand hounds became his forever home due to his specific needs and the fact that the rescue really adored him. Quasimodo began a new life as an advocate for both the rescue and special needs canines after finding a permanent home. And with that, it's now time for today's best pick. We'll be taking a look at what happens when a bear gets too stressed out. Find out more about it next. Number 3. Spectacled bear. After killing their mother, wildlife traffickers kidnapped Dominga and her sister from Peru's Amazon rainforest when they were young cubs. The traffickers most likely intended to sell them as pets or into the entertainment sector, but officials were able to save them in time. Dominga and her sister, however, could not be simply put back into the wild as young cubs. So, an Andes Mountain Zoo offered to take them. The zoo had excellent intentions and attempted to provide Dominga and her sibling with a proper habitat. However, the zoo was unable to compensate for the loss of their native habitat. Dominga, on the other hand, still had her sister. However, Dominga's sister was involved in a horrific accident and became entangled in some fencing years ago. Though the circumstances of the event remain unknown, she died as a result of her injuries. Dominga became depressed after losing her sister and only companion in such a horrific fashion, and she began to lose her fur. Female spectacled bears are highly emotional and sensitive. When they are stressed in captivity, they are prone to shed their hair. Number 2. Frank and Louie. Frank and Louie, the renowned two-faced cat, also known as Frankenlouie, died at the ripe old age of 15. The Massachusetts cat holds the Guinness World Record for the longest living Janus cat. Domestic cats with 2 faces are extremely rare, according to Leslie Lyons of the University of Missouri's Department of Veterinary Medicine and Surgery, who specializes in feline genetics. They were named after the Roman god Janus, who is frequently represented as having 2 faces. The animals also don't survive very long because of health issues associated to their deformities, making Frank and Louie's 15-year run all the more astounding. Marty Stevens, the cat's owner, stated that veterinarians suspect cancer was the cause of death. In September 1999, a breeder brought the unique feline to Stevens, a vet nurse, to be euthanized. Stevens, who did not believe that the cat would live, opted to take him home and care for him. She fed Frank and Louie through tubes in both mouths, only to discover that only the Frank side was attached to the esophagus. He did, however, consume enough food for the two. Stevens said her cat immediately developed a strong personality and enjoyed walking around her North Grafton area. Number 1. Endo the Blind. Endo, a blind Appaloosa horse from Oregon in the United States, and his owner set 3 world records, according to Guinness World Records. According to the Guinness World Records website, the horse is touching the world with more than his good-natured demeanor and striking brown speckles. On October 29, 2022, the 22-year-old Appaloosa, known as Endo the Blind, set the 3 records with his owner Morgan Wagner. The greatest free jump by a blind horse, the most flying changes by a horse in 1 minute, and the fastest time for a blind horse to weave 5 poles are among the records. The owner stated that she was 13 years old when her grandma promised her that she may have her own horse, and the intriguing foal piqued her interest. When Endo was 8 years old, she noticed that his eyes were regularly moist and squinting. After examining Morgan's favorite horse, a physician diagnosed him with equine recurrent uveitis, often known as moon blindness or periodic ophthalmia. The disease is one of the most frequent equine eye illnesses and the major cause of horse blindness globally. Unfortunately, Endo's anguish lingered, and when his right eye ruptured, Ms. Wagner was forced to make the agonizing decision to remove it. Endo had to learn to navigate a world he couldn't see after his left eye began to cause him problems only after a few months and had to be removed as well. See you all next time.